Hi, my name is Gina. I have a Year 8 class at Havelock North Intermediate, and this is my digital assessment too. So this is what I'm going to be talking about today, the implementation of my innovation, what I actually did and why I did it, the impact of my innovation, and the successes and failures I had, and what I'd do next time. So the why. Why am I actually doing this? Self-regulation is a vital skill that I feel many of my Year 8 students are lacking. They're hard-working students, but 7 years of primary education has led them to rely heavily on teacher direction. In 2011, Benvenuti stated that self-regulation affects motivation, emotions, selection of strategies, and effort regulation, and leads to increases in self-efficacy and improved academic achievement. These positive increases are what I really want for the students in my class this year. At the moment, most of my students have experienced learning that fits within level 1 and 2 of this rubric. So that means there may be some learning goals and success criteria there, but they're not actually involved in any of the planning. My goal by the end of 2017 is to have my students regularly working within level 4. That is, they've been involved with the planning of their work and they've been able to revise their work based on feedback. The implementation. What did we actually do in Room 2 this year? We are working on making websites for the business Eager Entertainment, a real business. My goal is to improve the student self-regulation skills. The students identified as part of this project the jobs involved in website production, preferable group size. You can see that we had some discussion up here. I did actually rule out 1 and 6. I ruled out 1 because I really wanted them to work on their collaborative skills, and I ruled out 6 because that just seemed too many for the task. They chose their groups. This was something that was hard to let go of at the start, but for true collaboration to occur, they need to be comfortable working with each other. The timeline, how long they thought it would take. So this was suggested, and then I crafted some discussion around this and we came to an agreed timeline. The implementation. So my input was then limited to guiding them and scaffolding their discussions to keep them working within that zone of proximal development. So here, it really shifted from teacher direction to the guidance phase. During the process, I identified some common issues among the groups. I used these to provide mini PD sessions for the class as the need arose. For example, I noticed the class copying images from the internet. We had a short discussion and then watched a clip which explained Creative Commons licenses. I then noticed that the kids were being much more selective about where they got their images from. Trello. Down the bottom you'll see that I specified they must use Trello. This is just because they haven't seen an online collaborative tool before, and I really wanted them to give one to work with at the start, and Trello's a really great tool. Here's an example of some of the student work. So what they were provided with was the wording for some of the tabs and the pricing. Obviously it's a real business, so they're real prices. From there, they were free to do whatever they wish. This group self-regulated excellently. They planned their timeline and used Trello effectively to share the tasks. They consistently asked for feedback when they felt ready for it, and they made sure to check in with the key stakeholder to see the website was meeting the stakeholder's needs. It's shaping up to be an excellent website and they're likely to be the winning team. So this was about halfway through when I decided I needed some student feedback to see how the project was actually going and whether I needed to step in a little bit more or step back further. I asked them 7 questions, which are listed on the end here, and range from what are you enjoying about making the websites to what can I help you with in order to be successful here. Here was the feedback from the survey. You can see in the graph in the top right hand corner here that 75% of them felt that their group was working really well. So that was quite surprising for me. It was an anonymous survey and I was actually really impressed that 100% of them thought yes or maybe, and nobody actually thought no, their group wasn't working. That's a lesson for me and maybe some other teachers that actually they can choose a group and work really well in it. Some other interesting points. The only support that they felt that they needed from me now was around colour choices and photos, because yes, I am the key stakeholder. They weren't actually asking for learning support or any other things. It was just about the project. So here are some of the quotes from the survey about how they felt about working in a group. Most groups collaborated really well. They often commented on how fast the time was going. And this reminded me of a quote from Spencer. I'm realising that when collaboration works well, there's a certain group flow experience, where you are totally in the zone. I believe the class learned a lot about collaboration, even though this wasn't my initial intention. I noticed that most groups were working in a constant state of interdependence. They were communicating with each other throughout the whole project. When a group member was away, they had to learn to problem solve about whether they could manage the missing person's task or whether they had to wait for that person to return. Some of the successes were the accidental demonstration of a number of 21st century skills. Self-regulation. This was actually my initial intention, as discussed earlier, and we were really hitting around level 4 consistently. Collaboration. On the previous slide, you saw student quotes about what they're learning about working in a group, and it demonstrated to me that they truly were collaborating. Real-world problem solving. This is a real business, and the outcome of this project is that one of these websites will go live. My observations. All students were on task and contributing ideas during the initial discussion. They were really excited about making the website. No one was off task and they were all throwing ideas in. And the sense of relief when they found out that actually they could choose who they worked with was huge and noticeable. And it really made me question why I'm putting kids with other kids that they really don't want to work with throughout the year. Food for thought. Some of the failures. So, out of 7 groups working on the project, I have doubts that one group of 4 boys will finish their website. While this is concerning, it may be that these boys just haven't developed enough self-regulation skills yet. As the ITL rubric suggests, self-regulation involves a range of skills that become increasingly sophisticated over time. At the beginning of a year, students who are new to self-regulation, e.g. these boys, and actually most of my class, may need more explicit guidance over time. So perhaps I expected too much from these boys too soon, and to help them finish the project successfully, I need to give them more guidance. So next time, what I would do differently. About halfway through the activity, I realised I needed to input a little bit more. Most groups were working well, but I noticed some students start to lose focus. On the board, I put a simple rubric from 1 to 5. 5 being, I'm on task, helping each other, working really well, and I'm awesome. 3 being, I'm doing my work slowly, but I'm being a little bit lazy today. Down to 1 being, I am causing distraction. I then asked them privately to give themselves a number. This was incredibly effective. I noticed the students instantly give themselves feedback. They knew exactly what number they were, and I noticed a huge improvement of focus. I've carried this on throughout the project when I noticed focus slipping. It's now a simple, have a think about what number you are. Eventually, I'd like my students to be self-regulating this and questioning what kind of number or what kind of focus level they've got going on. Here are some of the other things I might do next time. So we didn't have specific success criteria at the start. Obviously, we did a lot of discussing about what makes a good website, but we didn't actually write it down other than a list of jobs and other than a discussion around criteria. I think keeping a record is really important for the kids to be able to give each other effective feedback. Thank you for listening. Here are my references.